Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are attempting to solve a logic puzzle that trips up thousands of travelers every single year. We are heading to the Pacific. We're talking about Oahu.
The gathering place.
And honestly, looking at the data, that name feels incredibly appropriate. It seems like everything gathers there. Ancient history, modern surf culture, intense city life, dense rainforests.
Which creates a massive logistical problem for a visitor.
Doesn't it?
It does. It's the classic traveler's dilemma, but like on steroids. You land in Honolulu and you have this huge checklist. You want the world-famous beaches. You want to hike a jungle. You want the food trucks. You need to see Pearl Harbor. And, you usually have about 4 days to do it.
And the risk is high. If you play this wrong, you don't get a vacation. You get 4 days of sitting in gridlock on the H1 freeway.
Exactly. And you leave feeling more exhausted than when you arrived.
So to solve this, we're deep diving into a very specific strategy guide today. We've pulled a comprehensive breakdown from Halia Private Tours titled Fun 4-Day Oahu Itinerary. And I want to be clear, we aren't just reading a brochure here. We're treating this as a strategy guide. We're looking for the hacks, how to fit the pieces together so the math actually works.
It really is a strategy guide. And the core insight here, the thing that drives the whole itinerary, is understanding the rhythm of the island.
Okay, let's unpack that concept, the rhythm of the island. Because when I look at a map of Oahu, it looks pretty compact. It's not a huge landmass. Why is timing so critical?
It is compact, but it's dense. The source makes a crucial point right off the bat. You can drive 20 minutes in Oahu, and the entire vibe, the weather, even the traffic reality can just flip 180 degrees.
Wow.
It's not just about distance. It's about density and these little microcultures.
So it's about knowing where to be and, I guess, more importantly, when to be there.
Precisely. You can't just wing it. If you try to force your schedule onto the island will win.
Let's start with the geography then. The source draws a really interesting, almost stark line between town and country. It reads like they are describing two different nations.
They practically are. On one side, you have town, which is shorthand for Honolulu and Waikiki. This is your high-energy city vibe.
Right.
The source describes it as the place for recharging, but in a very specific way. Designer boutiques, high-end hotels, sunset cocktails. You step out of your hotel and you're immediately on the sand, but you're also surrounded by skyscrapers.
It paints this picture of, like, shave ice on Calico Avenue, listening to live music, surrounded by luxury brands. It sounds very polished.
It is polished. It's manicured. It's where the action is if you want nightlife and convenience.
Wow.
But then you drive north, you hit the North Shore, and the source describes this as the playground.
The country.
Right. And the vibe shifts instantly. You go from Louis Vuitton bags to wild chickens wandering freely and surfboards leaning against, aging wooden shop fronts.
I got stuck in the chickens part, like
Right.
actual barnyard animals.
Wild chickens, they're everywhere in the country. It's actually a great litmus test. If you see chickens crossing the road, and I'm not setting up a joke here, you know you've left the resort bubble. It's rustic, it's slower, and it's focused on the ocean in a much wilder, more raw way than Waikiki.
I love that contrast. It feels like you get two vacations in one. But the source also mentions that the when matters just as much as the where, specifically regarding the seasons.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of us assume Hawaii is just static. Perfect weather, 85 degrees all year round.
That's a common misconception. I mean, while it is generally lovely, there are distinct seasons that dictate what you can actually do in the water. The source breaks it down into winter and summer. Winter is November through March.
And that's the big surf season.
That is the legendary season. If you go to the North Shore in winter, you aren't swimming. You're watching. You're seeing those massive building-sized waves. We're talking 20, 30, 40 feet faces.
Wow.
It's also whale watching season. You could spot humpback whales migrating. But the trade-off is that the evenings are cooler and it's generally wetter.
And then summer is April to October.
Right. And summer flips the script completely. The ocean calms down. So if you want to snorkel, if you're traveling with kids or, are a strong swimmer, summer is when you get those calm, glass-like aquamarine waters, especially on the North Shore.
So if you book a snorkeling trip in January on the North Shore expecting a relaxing float,
you're going to be disappointed, or at least redirected to the South Shore. You might be watching pros surf, but you won't be getting in. And speaking of weather quirks, we have to talk about microclimates.
This was fascinating. The idea that it can be sunny in Waikiki and raining just 3 miles away.
It's just how the mountains work there. The source notes that Waikiki might be dry and sunny. It's on the leeward side. But if you drive just 20 minutes into Manoa Valley, which is tucked into the mountains, it's misty, green, and full of rainbows.
Huh?
Or the North Shore could be breezy with for the sea spray from the surf.
So the takeaway is, don't cancel the hike just because it's raining at your hotel window.
Exactly. Look at the forecast for the specific valley you're going to, not just Honolulu. You have to be a bit of a meteorologist.
Okay, so we have the lay of the land. We understand the town versus country dynamic. Let's get into the actual game plan. The source lays out a specific 4-day itinerary designed to balance everything without burning you out.
Let's do it.
Day 1, step back in time. This is labeled History in City Life. They suggest, starting with the heavy hitter, Pearl Harbor.
It's the non-negotiable for most first-timers. The Arizona Memorial. The source calls it a moving glimpse into history. It's one of those places that anchors you in the significance of where you are.
I can imagine.
It's solemn, and it's best done early in the morning before the heat and the crowds really peak.
But here's where the sequencing gets interesting. After the heavy emotional weight of Pearl Harbor, they pivot to something I actually didn't know much about.
This is a really significant stop, and I'm glad they included it.
A royal palace.
Exactly. It was the residence of Hawaii's monarchs, King Kalakaua and Queen Liliuokalani. It's incredibly preserved. Walking through there, it just changes your perspective on Honolulu.
How so?
You realize it's not just a beach town built for tourists. It's a capital city with a deep, complex, and royal history that predates statehood.
It adds a layer of depth to the trip right on day 1. So you have military history in the morning, royal history in the afternoon. And then to wrap up day 1, they suggest heading to Chinatown. Why there?
It's a sensory reset. You've had the solemn history, the regal history, and now you're diving into the chaos and flavor of the present. Noodle houses, izakayas, hidden speakeasies.
So it brings that modern multicultural flavor.
It does. It's gritty in a cool way. It's vibrant.
I like that flow.
Yeah.
It feels like a complete narrative arc for the day. So day 2, we're leaving the city.
Day 2 is the legendary North Shore. It feels like stepping back in time to the 1960s or 70s.
They mention a specific activity here that sounds incredibly relaxing. Paddleboarding the Anahulu River.
Yes.
Why this river specifically?
It's a strategic choice. The river flows right into the harbor, and the water is calm even when the surf is up on the beaches. The source mentions you can often paddle alongside basking sea turtles. It's a very different interaction with nature than just sitting on the sand.
It's quiet.
Very quiet.
That sounds like a dream. But here's where the strategy part comes in again. The expert advice in the source is very clear about when to do day 2.
This is vital intel. I mean, if you take nothing else from this deep dive, take this. Plan your North Shore trip for a weekday.
Monday through Thursday.
Yes. Do not go on Saturday or Sunday.
Is the difference really that stark?
It's the difference between a scenic drive and a parking lot. On weekends, everyone, locals, military personnel stationed there, all the tourists, they all head north. And it's a 2-lane road for much of it.
Right.
If you go on a Tuesday, you might actually find a parking spot near the shave ice shop. If you go on Saturday, good luck. You'll spend half the day just idling.
That's the kind of tip that saves a marriage on vacation. Why didn't you bring us here? We're stuck in traffic. Avoid that conversation.
Yeah.
Go on Tuesday.
Exactly.
Okay, day 3. This one is labeled Hidden Valley Adventure.
This is where we head into Manoa Valley. Remember those microclimates? This is that misty, rainbow-filled area we talked about. It's lush.
The source compares it to a movie set.
It literally is one. Jurassic Park and Lost film scenes right here in this valley. You've got towering bamboo forests that click in the wind, giant prehistoric ferns, birdsong echoing off the canyon walls. It feels ancient.
And it's a hike to a waterfall, right?
Mm.
I have to ask, is this a train for 6 months kind of hike? Or can I do it after eating a big breakfast?
It's accessible. It's a 1.5-mile round trip. The source says it's doable for most families, but, and this is a big but, you need to respect the environment.
What does that mean?
It means bug spray. The mosquitoes are, as the source puts it, part of the jungle deal. You are in a wet rainforest. And secondly, footwear.
No flip-flops.
Please don't wear flip-flops. Locals call them slippers, but whatever you call them, don't wear them here. It gets muddy, it's slippery. You need closed-toe shoes or hiking sandals.
Noted. Jungle equals real shoes. So after you've hiked and maybe been eaten by a mosquito or two, what's the afternoon plan?
They offer a couple of options depending on your energy level. ATV tours and more movie sites, very high adrenaline. Or, for something quieter...
The replica Japanese temple.
Yes, it's tucked against the Koolau Mountains. It is incredibly serene. koi ponds, peacocks roaming around, a giant ringing bell you can strike. It's a nice counterbalance to the muddy hike. It's a place to just breathe.
Nice mix of adrenaline or zen. Which brings us to day 4, South Shore Magic, the most famous snorkeling spot in Hawaii.
It's a volcanic crater that collapsed into the sea. It's a shallow reef teeming with parrotfish, butterflyfish, living coral. It's ecologically very important.
But because it's so popular and protected, there's a catch.
The reservations.
Ah,
Strict reservations. The source emphasizes that you need to book this in advance. You can't just roll up at noon with a towel and expect to get in. They limit the number of visitors per day to protect the reef.
so this is a set your alarm to book situation.
Absolutely. Treat it like buying Taylor Swift tickets. It sells out.
And then the afternoon, look out for those sweeping views. That feels like a nice way to close out the trip, looking over everything you've just seen.
It gives you that bird's eye perspective of the windward side. It helps you mentally map out where you've been. Just hold onto your hat.
Now, we can't talk about a Hawaii itinerary without talking about the food. The source is very specific about this. It's not just go eat food. There's a culture around how you eat on Oahu.
Absolutely. The food truck phenomenon is huge on Oahu, and the source makes a point to say this isn't just a tourist gimmick. Locals eat here too. It's part of the fabric of the island.
And the big debate seems to be on the North Shore with the garlic shrimp.
Oh, the garlic shrimp plates. It's iconic. The source calls out 2 big names, Giovanni's and Romi's.
This is fancy.
The opposite. You drive up to a graffiti-covered truck, you wait in lines, sometimes a long line, you get a paper plate piled high with shrimp and garlic and butter and 2 scoops of rice, and you eat it right there on a picnic bench.
Probably fighting off a fly or two.
Oh, yeah. It's messy, you'll smell like garlic for hours, and it's absolutely essential.
And then for dessert, we have the sweets. Shave ice is obvious, but there's another one I want to talk about because I have a sweet tooth. Malasadas.
Yes. You cannot leave without a malasada.
What exactly is it?
It's basically a donut without a hole, fried until golden and rolled in sugar, sometimes filled with custard or coconut hopia.
Warm, sugary, fried dough. My mouth is watering.
It's the ultimate comfort food. And they also mention the roadside stops, just pulling over for fresh mango or sugarcane juice. That's part of the charm. It's not just about the sit-down dinners. It's about grabbing fruit from a stand on the side of the highway.
Let's talk about shopping for a second.
Like we said, you have the luxury handbags. If you want Gucci, it's there. But then you have these local boutiques, farmers markets, handmade jewelry.
So it's a good reminder to look beyond the big brands.
If you want something that actually feels like Oahu, yeah.
Okay, we've got the places, the food. Now we need to talk about the insider advantage, the logistics. Because the source drops one rule about traffic that they claim can save the entire trip.
This is the golden rule of Oahu driving. Avoid Honolulu inbound between 7 and 9 a.m. and avoid Honolulu outbound between 3 and 7 p.m.
That is a huge window in the afternoon, 3 to 7 p.m.
It is, but you have to understand, everyone is trying to leave the city to go home to the west side or the windward side. If you get stuck in it, you are sitting in gridlock.
Right.
The source says if you respect this rule, you swap gridlock for fresh malasadas. If you ignore it, you're just looking at brake lights for 2 hours.
So practically, how do you plan around that?
You plan your day so you aren't trying to leave the city at 4 p.m. Either stay in town for an early dinner or be already out on the North Shore and stay there until later in the evening. Just don't be on the highway during rush hour. It's simple, but people forget.
What about the car itself? Do you even need a rental car for all 4 days? Because parking is, like, notoriously expensive.
The source has a nuanced take on this. They say not always. If you're staying in Waikiki, you have shuttles, you have walkability. You might not need a car every single day. You could just rent one for the North Shore days.
But if you're staying at a resort like Ko'olina or Turtle Bay...
Then a car is mandatory.
Yeah.
You are too isolated otherwise. You're trapped on the resort property without one.
This leads us to the other option the source discusses, which, since they are a tour company, they have a vested interest in. But let's look at the argument objectively.
Yeah.
The debate between private tours and group tours.
Right. Halia Private Tours obviously recommends private tours, but they make a pretty compelling case for the value proposition.
Let's break that down. Group tours, the big buses, are obviously cheaper per ticket.
They are, and they're great for meeting people or if you are a solo traveler on a budget. But the downside is the herding cats scenario. You're on someone else's schedule, you get 5 minutes at the lookout, and then you have to get back on the bus.
No flexibility.
None. And with private tours, the source describes it as spending the day with a local friend. If you want to linger over lunch, you linger. If you see a rainbow and want to pull over for a photo, you pull over. It's total flexibility.
But isn't a private tour insanely expensive?
Yeah.
That sounds like something only for the 1%.
Here is where the math gets interesting, and I checked this. The expert points out that for groups of 4 or more, a private tour often costs about the same as buying 4 tickets on a big bus tour.
Really?
Yes, because private tours are usually a flat rate or tiered. When you aggregate the cost for a family of 4 or 2 couples, the price per person drops significantly, so you get the luxury experience for a similar price point.
So if you're a family, it might actually be the smarter financial move, not just the fancy move.
Exactly. And for families with kids, think about the stress. No driving, no parking, no navigating that crazy traffic, no cranky kids stuck on a bus with strangers. You move at your own pace.
That's a fair point. Taking the logistics off your plate allows you to actually look at the scenery instead of staring at GPS.
It allows you to be present, and that's really what you're paying for.
So, bringing this all together, we've got a compact island, distinct seasons, a strict traffic strategy, and a mix of heavy history and wild adventure. What does this all mean for the listener planning their trip right now?
It means that Oahu rewards preparation. It works for the plan every hour person and the go with the flow person, but only if you understand the geography. You can't just wing it and hope to cross the island at 5 p.m. on a Friday.
The island will win that fight every time.
It will. And I think the biggest takeaway from the source is this idea of memories over souvenirs. They explicitly say that a sunset sail or a private circle island tour will last longer in your memory than an aloha shirt or a keychain.
That's a great point. You probably won't remember the traffic jam, or maybe you will, for the wrong reasons, but you will remember swimming in a waterfall in Manoa Valley.
Or seeing a turtle. Those are the moments.
Exactly. So as we wrap up, here's a thought to leave you with. The source talks a lot about finding your style, whether you're relaxed or adventurous. But I'm curious, listener, what does your perfect day look like? Is it the adrenaline, or is it the silence of a sunrise?
Both are available. You just have to choose.
And plan the drive accordingly. Thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you on the next one.